powered by Alienware. Red Dead Revenge. Red Dead Renegades. I don't know. Red Dead... Revenant? Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh man, I honestly lost all hope I would ever say those words. Whatever the kids are calling it, just saying that gives me a hard case of sequelitis. What I mean from the bottom of my soul is this game needs to be made. Because one was fucking amazing. Waiting for this game is like secretly hoping your clueless parents got you what you wanted for Christmas, and you're just staring at the boxes under the Christmas tree, dreading in the pit of your stomach that it's a slightly upgraded pair of the exact same socks that they got you last year. It's functional, but ultimately unfulfilling. You know who you are. Though there may be a new hope. At E3 2016 no less, the next Red Dead title seems to be all but confirmed, and all signs point to a yes, this may actually be happening, even with a leaked map that recently dropped, which looks suspect at best, but it's being reported heavily as genuine. Now, the original story was superb, the characters engaging, the world immersive, and don't even get me started on spending countless hours in a beautiful, lush and majestic, thriving wilderness in the Old West, hunting beavers. I mean literal beavers. That's how good the game was. It made you want to hunt beavers. But trust me, when the storyline was finished, this is one of the few games you actually sought out ways to become a completionist and savor every single morsel of content you possibly could. And fellow completionists, I know how much we all hated those bureau dicks, but that didn't stop me getting the 100% completion rating to get their outfits. For the uninitiated, Red Dead Redemption was one of Take-Two Interactive's most successful games, selling more than 15 million units. A sequel to Red Dead Redemption, supposedly, has always been on the cards, and now it seems an announcement is gonna happen during E3 this year no less. And according to Strauss Zelnick, CEO of Take-Two Studios, Red Dead is a permanent franchise, along with Grand Theft Auto, Borderlands, and more, so it's only a matter of time. Now, with all that said, for argument's sake, let's presuppose that the rumors have some basis in fact and the game is currently under development. Now, all that's left to discuss is what needs to be included in any sequel to the Red Dead Redemption franchise, and also explore what the first game did right and what made that so successful and how it could be expanded upon. How do you top Red Dead Redemption's masterfully crafted story, which rather effortlessly felt like something straight out of a classic western? It didn't hold your hand, mind you, none of this "we need to over-explain stuff so you feel a connection to the protagonist." To realize where the next game needs to go, first, let's briefly explore what made Red Dead Redemption's story so utterly captivating. You are John Marston, an ex-bandit that's being forced to hunt down your old gang who previously left you for dead in a botched robbery. And the people forcing you to do so is the corrupt government, no less, who are trying to eradicate the elements of the Old West and forcibly push society into a new, regimented and conformative era that we know and love today. And to sweeten the deal, it's the government, not your old gang members, who are holding your wife and son captive. But they can keep Jack for all I care. That kid was kind of a dick.
That used to be my dear old potty-mouthed mom. Maybe I should bother to kick her harder.
Dear boy. Oh, I am so proud of you.
Now, having all said that, Red Dead Redemption is, at its heart, about a man precariously stuck between two worlds, and they're very much at war, the Old West and the newly established law engulfing the Old West, whilst he struggles to find his own place in the new world in hopes of breaking free of the shackles of his sordid past. And I'm gonna just say, outside of the main plot, what truly sets Red Dead apart are subtle deviations from previous storytelling elements like this. As it's a Rockstar game, shock horror, there are prostitutes, which, to be fair, is historically accurate. However, when you encounter said prostitutes or even, say, potential love interest other than your wife, and I'm looking at you, Bonnie, you lusty fiend, quit tempting me with those sexy pants.
Miss Bonnie McFarlane.
John Marston, true to form and his character as a family man first, will not take on another partner during his quest to rescue his family. You spit out lines of dialogue like, "Thanks but no thanks," and go on your way. And I guess what I'm saying is that the game stays true to the character's motives and story period. Instead of taking the easier, seemingly more lucrative, hedonistic route, where developers opt for more and more hardcore adult elements to mask a weaker storyline. And I believe that Red Dead sequel needs to follow a similar vein and always be true to story elements no matter what. Now, having said that, the story in RDR was central to only John Marston. With the new GTA 5 storytelling mechanics, it's open to telling multiple stories in tandem, and with a huge sprawling map like Red Dead featured and limitations of travel in the early 20th century, this could further propel the story to a whole new level, being able to have different characters with their own unique motivations, although I'm hoping to see revenge being the central plotline, maybe against one or multiple central villains. It's definitely open, but who wouldn't love to run a posse or a gang? As long as they keep the story first and foremost in their minds when making this game, I would love to see the artistry of a gang or posse story unfurl at once. I say, let's put the wild back in the Wild Wild West. And this means entirely getting rid of aim assist, which is a hard locking system for targets, and also this would jack up the difficulty about 300% because it's so easy to just go lock on, shoot, there's no skill whatsoever. I'm gonna be honest, I felt like the whole aim assist, cover system, and general game difficulty was substantially lower than ever, and it was disappointed for replayability's sake, or the combat had just detracted from it so much. Maybe it was because it was for console, I don't know, but I'm okay with the game modes being toggled, but Red Dead is a game where you don't die randomly, unlike, say, a Fallout game where you can get in hot water before you know it. Red Dead mostly was pedestrian when it came to combat, and the new version needs, at the very least, some form of hardcore mode so that there's a real challenge and sense of achievement progressing through the main story. And I don't think that that just has to limit itself to the shooting and combat being jacked up, like if they got a hardcore mode where you have to drink and eat, survive, hunt, sleep, I love it. When I think of the countless hours I spent in Red Dead, it was usually achievement hunting, and that in itself was amazing. But it was fun, and I especially loved hunting, but I realized you did that because the items in the game, they were kind of a bit crap. And when you looted corpses, you got ammo and cash. You would think in the Old West, you'd have to be resourceful. I mean, hell, half of the time, if you did anything outside of the main quest, you wanted to get better gear, which is cool and it works, but it also bottlenecks the enjoyment. I honestly would love to be able to loot everything off a corpse. I mean, it's the Old West. There's bandits, anything goes. In movies, you see dudes taking other people's shoes. You want to make use of everything you can. Why not have a loot system akin to, say, an Elder Scrolls title where you can generally, if you see it, you can take it, so that you feel a real sense of the scavenging that the people would do in the time, from weaponry, food, horses, clothing, even gold teeth, pulling them out. Alright, it's a little bit extreme, but waste not in the West. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and the last one was taking a leaf out of Seth's book, but hey, if the shoe fits, right?
Excuse me, are you Seth?
Who are you?
Speaking of shoes fitting, with any game, progression, if done right, brings a sense of achievement, and nothing says that more than creating something, or at the very least, enhancing it. Enter crafting. Imagine, if you will, you could build just about anything or break down components you gather along the way. Like Fallout 4, imagine what would happen if Minecraft met Red Dead. Suddenly, you just weren't fully reliant on achievements for better gear or weapons. And I'm not saying abandon achievements, they could easily be left in for better perks or even just aesthetics and gear you wouldn't obtain otherwise. But to manipulate, break down, build up, destroy or harvest everything around you, that would be magic. I mean, surely every town had a blacksmith, weaponsmith, horseshoe place, I don't know what it's called, distillery, farms, fishery, the list just goes on. I would really love the wilderness of Red Dead and how it was teeming with life. To really take advantage of that, I believe it would give the next game further longevity, being able to skin a deer and not just sell the pelts or get some arbitrary achievement. Actually craft gear or weapons, find or cut down trees, or even farm like John had always dreamed of, with different biomes only being able to sustain X amount of crops and having weather systems, modifying custom clothing, weaponry, to the point you would have a truly unique set of 6 shooters with your name engraved on the hilt. This is where the game world and all of its elements could really be set apart. There was a time, once back in the day, when console exclusivity tickled my fancy. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna buy a PS3 bundled with Metal Gear 4. Well, thankfully, that is all of gaming yesteryear. Mostly, we've got some Uncharted and whatnot, but developer-wise, money was to be made, and more platforms usually means more sales of games. And so, God help me, did I not dream of riding a train or carriage in Red Dead with my PC friends. Yes, I know it's a console game in a lot of people's heads, but PC. This game should be celebrated by all, and like Grand Theft Auto, and for the most part, having it as a console exclusive killed the ability of my PC pals who never got to experience the greatness that was Red Dead Redemption. And perhaps more of a crime, it made the multiplayer seem like mostly an afterthought. I didn't like it. It had proximity-based voice chat. It was rife with 12-year-olds screaming, clunky matchmaking that took forever. It was so dead you couldn't even try half the expansion modes, and a map was so vast, tracking down another player for revenge was not really worth it. Okay, this point has changed from it should be cross-platform to make it cross-platform, and multiplayer needs a giant overhaul. So, you have all these items, but what do you do with them? Naturally, housing makes sense. However, the biggest perk of the Old West was the fact that you had a lot of open space, an absolute ton. In RDR, you could acquire houses through purchase and the like, but I like the idea that there was so much potential to take over existing places. And let's face it, wouldn't it be awesome to build your own log cabin in the middle of the woods? I mean, everyone loves the self-sustaining existence in location of their choosing, and if you take that even to a higher level, settlements. Yes, if you attract new settlers or even run a town, build them up or run an existing one. Wouldn't it be cool to be sheriff or mayor? You have to help at the economy, you have more people you're invested in, their well-being, e.g. a blacksmith needs a clear pathway for incoming metals, or the town is dry of weapons and horses, or you have deputies that can be killed. How about starting up a casino and gambling empire, hiring a half-decent band for your saloon, and heck, going out of town and coming back to a posse trying to take over. I love that Game of Thrones aspect, and if done right, it would be satisfying to fortify, build out, and establish yourself in any given location. That would give you the next level of ownership, and even the question of, would you want to run a town? How would you run it? Or would you prefer to burn it to the ground? Or someone else's to the ground? There is nothing more frustrating than filler NPCs. I hate them. I hate feeling like I've been through something 20 times. And you definitely, if you play games like this, you know the ones. They seem to be everywhere, have the same voice actor, and don't even give you any useful information or add value to the game, other than being mostly a decorative, a nuisance, or distraction. The general AI, random encounters, and repeatable side quests in RDR was something that always lacked appeal to me. Now, maybe it was the previously mentioned difficulty, but it just felt so mundane after the first couple of times you did it. You would just happen by some idiotic NPC getting ambushed, shoot the looters, take their stuff, or see someone screaming on a wagon was being stolen. Half the time, I couldn't even be bothered helping them. I was like, well, a couple of bucks, don't care. Maybe the incentive wasn't there, but the NPCs went terribly hard to shoot, and the story that came out of their mouths didn't much matter. It was like, oh, some guy's in trouble and has been hung, your purse is snatched, gonna cut somebody, don't like me for some reason, so let's randomly duel. Or the worst offender, bounties, where you rode off for 10 minutes to a hideout you cleared out 10 times already to shoot 3 NPC types dressed the exact same, and that always kind of felt lackluster to me. Now, don't get me wrong, the actual side quests with compelling written narrative attached were utterly brilliant. I'm talking about the cannibal guy, that was messed up, but when you have a random encounter system that spews the same dialogue and happens in random spots over and over, you hit a breaking point and think either overhaul this sucker or scrap it completely.
Fellas gotta eat now.
Like Grand Theft Auto, Fallout, Minecraft, any other game I've given a brief nod to, Red Dead Redemption's next level lies in the tools they give the community to ultimately make the game their own. This means modding. Modding the game will open up the world of possibilities beyond anything I've mentioned previously, as well as if they implement the functionality of core elements, crafting, gathering, housing, and loot. They can be infinitely expanded upon. Heck, even the aesthetics can and will be actively improved upon. It is shown time and time again to give the community a sense of ownership. They will in turn create compelling content which gives the game a bigger half-life, and as such expands the lifespan of the game and franchise as a whole exponentially. Grand Theft Auto 5 did so beautifully, so I wholeheartedly believe moving forward that this will be a mainstay. However, I cannot stress how excited the idea of a modded Red Dead game would be, and see what they actually came up with. Now, what would you like to be added to a Red Dead follow-up? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. As you can probably tell, I'm genuinely interested to see your thoughts. As always, this has been Dash for Kurt saying thanks for watching and enjoy the game.
Some of my family is being kept hostage inside.
Something is coming. Do you have what it takes to be a pro gamer? And are you ready to take your skills to the next level and win cool prizes? Visit thelab.gg to find out more.